let's check out some free plugins. Today I'm gonna have a look at maybe the top 50-ish free plugins that fall under either synth or instrument category. You know, I'm gonna try and rank them into a tier list. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, first things first, we have LANDR Chromatic. So it's kind of like arcade. Yeah, the issue with this plugin is there's only 9 free sets, and I would say that after you've used a sound, there's nothing much you can do with it. Like, yeah, you can reuse it, but it's not very versatile. The sounds themselves are alright, nothing spectacular. LANDR Chromatic, this is a solid D tier. We're starting off strong. We have AASPlayer. So this is the swatches collection, and it's just 620 presets or so, and a lot of them are really cool, a lot of them are Just because of the versatility, I would say AASPlayer swatches, that's a solid A tier plugin. Then we have Cheeze Machine, which is, well, let me show you. It's alright for strings, but I would say the other presets are a bit meh. So Cheeze Machine, I'll put solid C tier, only if you're a synth nerd. Moving on, we have ABPL, which is a bass guitar instrument. I would say this is one of the best free plugins for bass guitar. So this one, I'll put, I think I just go God tier. AGML2, which is the guitar version of this. I'm not gonna bore you with any more details, but this is also really good. It's my favorite acoustic guitar that's free. MLite2, that's going in the God tier. APC, so another one from Lite, and it is, if you've seen that TikTok of the guy just banging on the Cloudrum with and without the t-shirt, it's exactly like that, and I would say the plugin is very crisp. There's different presets, so you can adjust how it sounds. It's not super versatile, it's a Cloudrum, you can't do much with it other than make vibey melody. So no, this is God tier. This is definitely God tier. Then we're going to VK-1. It's supposed to be an emulation of the Moog Voyager, and it's a monophonic synth. The interface is a bit too gray for me. There's some okay presets for synthwave. It didn't impress me a lot. It's an okay synthesizer. I would just put this in solid C tier. We have Charlatan. So this is a very easy synth to work with. It's really good for chunky bass lines. Charlatan 2, yep, that's going in B tier. Then we have Dexed. It just, as soon as I open it, I get a headache. It's supposed to be a DX7 emulation, but it's just so clunky to me. It sounds faithful to the DX7. I would put it in B tier. It's just a bit harder to learn. It's not a very beginner-friendly synth. So Dexed, B tier. Next up, we have the DSK Grand Saxophones and Dynamic Guitars. The guitar itself doesn't sound super realistic. Grand, it's probably my least favorite of the three. It's not a bad piano, but it's not an amazing one. Then the saxophone one. I would say it's a good enough saxophone. There's nothing better that's out there, at least that I know of, that's free. So the guitar, I would put C tier. Piano, C tier. And then I would actually put the sax in B tier. Subdivine. This is supposed to be an 808/bass making synth, but I just don't like it. It doesn't sound that amazing. And also, you can just get a sample pack of 808s, and it's gonna sound better than this. Maybe give this one a skip. Okay, next up we have Digits. So this one is kind of reminded of the Charlatan 2. It's very simple. It has a simple workflow here, working from left to right, and you can quite easily learn synthesis with this. So yeah, it sounds okay. Nothing super impressive, but it does the job. It's a solid B tier. So next up we have OBXD. I would say it's a pretty accurate emulation of the Oberheimer OB-X. One of the most important parts of testing this synth was, does it play jump? freaking price jump. I would say this is a B tier. Yeah, right. FB 3300. Just opening this reminds me of dexed and even more so. Let me show you some presets. It sounds nice, analog-y. I like that. It's just, it looks a bit too cluttered for me. If you're a synth nerd, go for it. ModulAir. It's a good example of modular synthesis. My synth IQ is very lukewarm room temperature, so I am not good at modulation synthesis. Let me just show you some of the presets. Maybe that's gonna be a better representation. It's a good plugin to learn modular synthesis on, but I'm not gonna learn that. ModulAir for me is going in the C tier, only if you're a synth nerd. Okay, next one is Synth 1. And I know that when you open it, it looks ugly. Believe me, the UI doesn't matter because this plugin is very easy, very intuitive. It's very good to learn synthesis. And also as a bonus, you have like 10,000 plus free presets. Definitely Google Synth 1 free presets and you can have like all of these presets that some of them are good, some of them are mid, some of them are really good. Synth 1's going to B tier. Syntronik. There's not much I can talk about this one. I treat it more like a synth rompler rather than a synth itself. If you pick a preset, you can actually go and fiddle with the knobs. It's just something about this workflow that I don't really like. The synths themselves sound very crisp. I like them. See, already made a banger. I would say only if you're a synth nerd. Okay, so Helm. It's not the prettiest synth, but I would say it's the closest you can get to Serum without actually getting Serum. Kind of like the design of it where you have the oscillators here, you have different effects here, and you have the envelopes here for amplitude, filter, modulation. You have the LFOs down here. I quite like it. It's more compact than Serum because in Serum you have different tabs. But overall, yeah, I would say Helm. Helm's going in the A tier. After Helm, we have PJ8X. The only reason why this plugin is here is because I used the Sample Science one, but it's no longer free, so I can't include it in this list, so I had to get this one. Something about it I really didn't like about the workflow. It was so messy. The loading presets was a pain in the ass, and it also crashed a few times, so not my favorite. I would maybe even say this is D tier for me. Okay, so Sinnah. It's not your classic synth. The UI is kind of ugly, but the sounds themselves sound pretty good. So it's capable of really cool, interesting sounds. I would say give this one a try. It's worth it. It's just, you kind of have to get over the UI because it looks a bit cluttered and a bit unaligned, if that makes sense. Sinnah is going in B tier. So SymptOhm. So this plugin, all I can say is it looks like the design and everything is really cool. Tested some presets, they sound okay. It's just I couldn't for the life of me see the names of the presets or anything that I'm doing. I would not open this plugin again because it just hurts my eyes. So for that and only that, I'm gonna put it in F tier. OctaSine. If you ever use 3OSC in FL Studio, this is like 4OSC. It's alright, it's more advanced, I would say. Do you really need another 3OSC if you have FL? And if you don't, do you really need another non-3OSC? Yeah, OctaSine is going in the D tier for me. Pendulate. So this one is pretty goddamn good. It sounds so chaotic in a good way. It sounds so ugly in a beautiful way. Let me show you. It has some really aggressive sounds, some really good sounds. I would say this is definitely a plugin you should look into. So yeah, Pendulate is going in the A tier for me. So first of all, Plogue have another plugin called Alter Ego, and that I could not get it to work. It looks weeby as well, just based off not being able to open it and putting it in F tier. But Sforzando itself is pretty good. It is actually much better than Direct Wave for me in FL Studio. So Sforzando is gonna go in the A tier. It does exactly what it should. Then we have Cassette Roads. Now this one, I just couldn't get it to sound nice. I like some of the Sample Science plugins, but Cassette Roads, I just could not get it to sound nice. This is all I can get. Yeah, not a fan of this one. This one is going in the D tier for me. Okay, now we have Fathom, which is a very nice plugin. It brings analog synths to life. A very warm plugin, if that makes sense. It really does bring it to life. However, I do not like this plugin because it uses so much CPU. I can usually open 10 serums, maybe then see a spike on my CPU. I have a pretty okay CPU. Just because of that, I will never use it. I tend to work with a lot of plugins, so something like that really puts me off a plugin. It sounds really nice, but it's too CPU heavy. Then next, we have Papu, which is kind of like an NES type emulator. I really like it for what it is. It's not super versatile. You can use it on a lot of things, but for what it does, put it in C tier. If you're a synth nerd, you're gonna enjoy this. Next up is Labs. My god, I'm not even gonna talk about this plugin. This should not be free. This is the best. This is the GOAT. All right, next up is Piano One. I'm putting this one in F tier because it pissed me off. I couldn't even register it initially because their instructions don't make sense, and then once I actually got it to register, it registered the wrong product somehow, installed the wrong product, and then I couldn't actually authorize the product because it wasn't the free one, it was something else. Moving on, Sinister. Looks really cool as well, looks colorful, it looks playful, but some of the presets that you can get for this, they sound straight out of a Playboy Cardi track. It's pretty simple to learn as well. Sinister is a solid B tier. Now we have Tal Noisemaker. Not gonna go too much into this one, but this one is kind of like Sinister, but a bit better. I would say it's more versatile, less aggressive sounding. I would even maybe go A or high B. Let's go a low B, like here. Then we have Tunefish, which is a great plugin. First, you open it, it looks kind of, it's kind of icky. It's kind of unique sounding. Just gives me vibes. Tunefish is also going in the A tier. Then we have Tyrell N6. This plugin is a rite of passage. It was my first VST. It's great. It sounds good. It has a lot of presets. I don't know if it's still maintained though, so be wary of that for future projects and stuff like that. There's definitely plugins that sound better, but because of nostalgia value, I'm just gonna go B tier with this one. Triple Cheeze, which makes sounds using comb filters, and I think that's pretty cool, pretty unique, but the sounds themselves are not anything special really. I would maybe even go C tier with this one. Then we have Lightpad. Kind of has creativity points for it because you can actually draw your gain, your width, your pitch, wavetable. But it still doesn't sound amazing. C tier for this one. Iterative Synth Cluster, I would say maybe not the best plugin. Yeah, not a big fan of this one. D tier. VST Speak. Now, yeah, this is going in God tier. All right, moving on. BBC Symphony Orchestra. Go now and get it because this is probably the most realistic orchestral sounds that you're gonna get. You have strings, you have brass, you have woodwinds, some percussion. Nah, that's just gorgeous. Just God tier. Tiki Clav, which is a Clav plugin. Yeah, if you're into that type of thing, I suppose it's alright, but it's pretty one-dimensional. If you're a synth nerd, I suppose that's good. Moto Bass, which is the best bass plugin that's free. You only have one bass guitar with it though. The full plugin has plenty, but this one has one bass guitar. However, you can adjust your playstyle here, finger, pick, slap. You can also adjust your stroke. You can also adjust your strings, your electronics. You can go to your pedal board here. So Moto Bass is definitely going in God tier here. Now we have Mandala, which is a sound sculpting engine. You can get something that sounds like this. Make it sound like this. You can make some really interesting sounds with this. There's only 2 free sample packs for this that are free. I think the expansions are worth it. It's a really cool plugin. VCV Rack. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this one. Is very cool if you want to learn modular synthesis. The only drawback is that you can't actually use it as a VST. If you do want to learn modular synthesis, this is worth it. It's very extensive. Yeah, VST rack, just because of that, I will just rank it D tier. Not because of the sound, just because I can't use it as a VST. Now, NI Complete Start, don't even think, get it. It's worth it. You have the free version of Contact, free version of Guitar Rig. You have a bunch of instruments. You have some effects. And I do the best. Just get it. God tier. Zebralette is another one that I'm not going to open because I couldn't. I like U-He, or however you pronounce that company. They make really cool plugins, but Zebralette, I read so many good things about it and I couldn't open it. I can't give it anything more than an F tier. But, you know, maybe you're going to have better luck with it. Finally, we have Odin 2, which is an amazing plugin. You have kind of this Serum-esque plugin that you have analog oscillators, you have wavetable oscillators, you have FM oscillators, and you can make some really cool sounds with this. It's very versatile, very, very versatile. You have some cool ass presets. Odin 2 is one of the best free synths. I would say this is S tier. And that wraps up our synth tier list. So that about does it for this list. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments if you've had any experience with any of these plugins. If you know any others I should review and make a part 2 or something like that. I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah.